Hello, I am Tarık Toros. Welcome to what's happening in Turkey. Espionage operation and the trustee plan. Erdogan's weakest day. For months, Turkey has been holding its breath, waiting for a court ruling that could change the country's political landscape. This case was so crucial that it eclipsed even the country's deepening poverty and record high inflation. For weeks, nothing else mattered. And finally, on Friday, the court announced its decision. A surprise verdict that defied expectations, boosted the markets, and offered a brief sigh of relief for the political opposition. But here's the real question. In a country where the rule of law has long been hollowed out, was this truly a "there are still judges in Ankara" moment? Or did President Erdogan simply step back because he could no longer afford the political and economic cost of the alternative? You'll find all the answers right here in this episode. Let's begin. The main opposition dodged a bullet. Turkey's main opposition party, the CHP, Republican People's Party, has narrowly escaped a political earthquake. A court in Ankara dismissed the case that sought to annul the party's 2023 Congress, ruling there was no subject matter and rejecting claims that the Congress was legally void. This means one thing. Özgür Özel's leadership of the CHP remains intact. Had the court ruled otherwise, his leadership would have been dissolved, and the former chairman might have been reinstated through a court-appointed trustee. The ruling removed months of uncertainty that had rattled both political circles and financial markets. Following the verdict, the Istanbul Stock Exchange immediately surged. So, does this prove that Turkey's judiciary acts independently of political power? I wish I could say yes. Some rushed to social media celebrating, "There are still judges in Ankara." But in truth, if the judiciary were truly independent, this politically charged lawsuit would never have been accepted, let alone dragged on for 10 long months. Among insiders in Ankara, the common view is that Erdogan's government backed down only because the political and economic risks of an adverse ruling were too high. The presidential palace reportedly considered delaying the verdict again, but growing domestic and international pressure made that impossible. Still, Erdogan tried to regain control of the narrative, launching two major counterattacks on the very same day. Redefining spying, Erdogan's style. Just as everyone was waiting for the court decision, Turkey woke up to a new headline: an espionage operation. The Istanbul Chief Public Prosecutor's Office opened an investigation against Istanbul's Mayor Ekrem İmamoğlu, his campaign director Necati Özkan, and prominent journalist Merdan Yanardağ, one of the last remaining critical voices on Turkish television. Police raided Yanardağ's home and the offices of his TV channel, Tele1. The channel has been placed under trusteeship, and its entire broadcast archive was deleted from YouTube. Authorities claim the investigation is based on data allegedly retrieved from encrypted phones and notes belonging to businessman Hüseyin Gün, who was arrested months ago on spying charges. According to these claims, voter data from Istanbul's 2019 municipal elections, the election that İmamoğlu famously won despite government pressure, was shared with foreign intelligence agencies. Yanardağ is accused of organizing the media side of this supposed operation. Investigators are now focusing on a mobile app developed by the Istanbul Metropolitan Municipality, used by millions of residents, a routine civic app suddenly framed as a tool for espionage. But it didn't take long to see the real picture. This so-called spy operation was no coincidence. It was launched just hours after the opposition's legal victory, a retaliation designed to change the headlines. Tele1 was one of only 3 TV channels left in Turkey that openly criticized the government. The other 2, Halk TV and Sözcü TV, have already seen their owners flee abroad to escape arrest warrants. So this isn't just a political move. It's also a warning shot to the last independent journalists still operating inside Turkey. A trustee for Istanbul. Erdogan's second move on that same day was even more ominous, reviving the trustee plan. The idea of removing Mayor İmamoğlu and replacing him with a government-appointed administrator. This plan first emerged after İmamoğlu's believed detention on October 23rd, but was shelved amid fears of a political and economic backlash. Now it's back on the table. Here's how it works. A 2016 decree introduced after the failed coup attempt allows the government to appoint trustees to any municipality if its mayor is under investigation for terror-related offenses. The rule was originally used to remove dozens of elected Kurdish mayors from the pro-Kurdish HDP party. Back then, the CHP remained largely silent. Now, the same legal weapon is being turned against them. With the court ruling failing to weaken the opposition, Erdogan may try to reassert control by taking over Istanbul, the country's economic powerhouse and symbolic heart of resistance. If he proceeds, it could once again shake Turkey's entire political balance, extending far beyond local politics. A sick president, a sick system. After 23 years in power, Erdogan's rule is visibly faltering. Domestically, his support base is eroding under the weight of a relentless economic crisis. Despite no war or sanctions, Turkey ranks among the world's top 5 countries for inflation, even using its own manipulated official data. A severe drought threatens agriculture, while in major cities like Ankara, Istanbul and Bursa, power and water shortages are becoming part of daily life. In parliament, Erdogan's alliance is losing stability. His declining health, increasingly noticeable during public appearances, has become a metaphor for the fragile state of his rule. And his losses are not confined to Turkey. In northern Cyprus, a territory Ankara calls the baby homeland, Erdogan's preferred candidate was soundly defeated in last week's presidential election. The victory of opposition leader Tufan Erhurman gave new hope to democratic movements both there and in Turkey, while dealing a major symbolic blow to Erdogan's aura of invincibility. Now, the question echoing through Ankara's corridors of power is this: will this wind reach Turkey too? I am Tarık Toros. Thanks for watching What's Happening in Turkey. See you next week.